This is the John Deere 310SL Backhoe. It's made by Ertl, and it's in 1/50th scale. Now this backhoe is part of the Prestige series from Ertl, so it's got a little bit more detail than what their normal backhoes have, but it's not great. It's nice, but not great, especially when you compare it to other manufacturers. Now, some things are a lot better on it. You know, the steering is actually, the way it should be. You have cylinders, hydraulic cylinders on your stabilizers. You have much better cab detail. And something else that's pretty cool is the hood opens up so you can see some motor detail, which is pretty nice. But to be honest, it's still not great. The range of motion still isn't very good. You don't have an extend-a-hoe for the backhoe. The range of motion for the backhoe is borderline terrible. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It really hasn't changed in 20 years. And I don't know. I'm really torn. Like, yeah, it's nice. It's a lot better than it was. But when you compare it to other manufacturers, it's just not great. Now, keep in mind, it probably costs about half of what other manufacturers charge, but it leaves a lot to be desired. And like I said, it is a lot better than the backhoes that they were putting out. But there is one thing I want to point out, and we'll get into that in a minute. This is actually not that much better than the backhoe they put out 20 years ago. Alright, so this is probably a bad idea. We're going to try to compare three machines at once, because this is an interesting progression, because it starts off good, goes bad, and then comes back to mostly good again. So this is a 310 SE, which was made somewhere late 90s, early 2000s. This is a 310 SG, which was like 2006, 2008, somewhere around there, and this is the current model. Now, there's an 310 SK in between all this, but it's really exactly the same as far as Ertl goes. It's exactly the same as the SG, except for the paint color is different on the loader arms and the backhoe itself. It's that dark gray color. So it's really the same machine. Now, if you look at the 310 SE and the 310 SG, the SG is actually a lot smaller. It sits a lot shorter. And you can see when you look at the wheels that especially the front wheels are a heck of a lot bigger, and the rear wheels as well. And the paint doesn't really match this plastic color that they have, which is kind of odd. Another thing that's weird is the backhoe itself actually looks a lot better on the SE than it does the SG, which is strange. One of the things that Ertl actually did really well with these 310s is that they got the bucket geometry just about right, which is really kind of impressive for Ertl. I mean, you get one heck of a dumping angle if it'll actually go. Holy cow, there we go. I mean, that's just about perfect. I mean, that's darn near what it ought to be, which is kind of funny because, again, Ertl. So you really see the dumping height is about the same, even though this sits up an awful lot taller. And then when you come to the SL, you don't get nearly any height out of the loader, and you don't get a good dumping angle either, which is just odd. It's strange when you have a machine from 20 years ago essentially be superior to what's brand new. That's odd, especially considering that the loader really hasn't changed in well over 20 years. You know, that's really strange that the newer version is not as good as the old. And you can really just look at the difference in the dumping cylinder. I mean, the geometry, in theory, shouldn't change. You know, the length of your struts and your dog bones should be the same, at least I would think. You know, I mean, that's a heck of a difference there. And you can see just how similar the SE and the SL are in size, especially with the wheel size, compared to what it was on the SG and also the SK, which isn't here. So I don't know, it's just strange. And you can see just how similar the backhoe is too, that it really hasn't changed in 20 years. They made it look like it's an extendo hoe, but it's not. It's odd. Now the outriggers are obviously a heck of a lot better on this, but there's really not much else that's better. Like, yeah, the steering's better, and it'd be cool if the hood opened up on this, but it's just odd to have 20 plus years of model production and it's only mildly better than what you were putting out an awful long time ago. It's just strange. So that's why, you know, I keep saying that this should be better than what it is, especially compared to what Diecast Masters and NZG and Universal Hobbies is putting out, you know, as far as backhoes. It should be better. Now, for $35, $40, I've seen them as low as $32, which is about, honestly, that's what an SK costs. So if you're going to spend the money, obviously get the prestige version, you know, the 310SL, but it should be better. It should be better. Do you get your money's worth? Yeah. Especially at $32, you absolutely get your money's worth. But Ertl, it should be better. Anyway, that's all I got for this. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask. If there's something you'd like to see, let me know. I might just have it. If you want to see what else I got, please subscribe to Maryland Construction Diecast. And thanks for watching.